Capricorn 17, a girl surreptitiously bathing in the nude. Why surreptitiously? Why is she being furtive about something which is lovely? It's great to go swimming with nothing on. It's a sense of freedom and proximity to nature and absolute joy of being and having no shame in the physical body. So why is she doing it surreptitiously? And the answer to this question is that there are forces around her that people that are shameless in taking off their clothes. Nakedness is seen as a shameful activity. And this is an imposition by the inhibitions of those other people that are controlling our lives. We all have inhibitions, and we have all taken on these inhibitions because the community requires us to behave in a certain way and shames us into doing things which are really simply not shameful, such as nakedness. It's, well, let's take the huge popularity nowadays in porn. There didn't used to be that degree of porn in the world until the internet, of course. And the whole thing about porn is that it creates a relationship with nakedness and sexuality that is based on shamefulness, that is dirty and it's wrong and we're naughty when we look at porn and so on. It's all celebration of shamefulness. Whereas the innocent young girl, she's a girl, she's innocent. She just wants to be free to play. And we see that in young children. If a child of 3 years old is naked running around the garden, everyone says, "Oh yeah, wonderful." But as soon as puberty arrives and a young girl is running around the garden with nothing on, it's like, "Oh, she mustn't do that." So it's not really to do with nakedness, it's to do with sexuality. The prepubescent child is free to run around and the sexually aware child is not. So we have this to deal with in our lives, the whole thing of inhibition. And this is, in simple terms, emotional repression. That's the issue here. To what extent are we repressing our emotions? And then we don't only talk about sexuality, we talk about anger and shame and pain and hurt and embarrassment and lack of self-confidence and all of the things that are going on within each of us that we hide from the public. Why do we do that? Why do we have emotional inhibitions? Well, the reason why is because of society's restraints. What can we do about it? Well, this is the courageous path that you have to try to live. If it's not possible to remove your repressions in the circle of friends that you're hanging out with, then you need to change your friends. Because emotional repression is not consistent with spiritual development. At some point, we have to clear all of our emotions, and that clearing process usually takes place during a very definite series of techniques or choice of techniques, such as psychotherapy or sacred dance or mantra or prayer or anything really that moves us into a state of being where we give voice to how we really feel deep down. Because if we can't do that, then the energy that emotional charge represents is locked inside of us in a self-defeating way, a self-harming way. We can't hold on, we can't clench ourselves against emotional expression and expect to be psychologically healthy. Most people would turn their repressions into an obsessional behavior. So, let's say, for example, somebody who was afraid of the dark as a child and didn't deal with that might grow up to be a security guard and wander around the streets at night testing door handles to make sure the doors are locked on behalf of the public. And those people that can't get enough food nowadays, they're obese, they're gluttons nowadays, perhaps have not dealt with the emotions of fearing lack of food or things that they wanted when they were children. We come to see the emotions that are being repressed in the adult behavior of a person. And anything that is evidently wrong with somebody is evidence of an emotion that has not yet been released. So this brings us to the understanding that our spiritual progress has, shall we say, two wings. On the one hand, spiritual wisdom, spiritual philosophy, spiritual practice, understanding the true nature of reality, which is very different indeed from what we're taught, on the one hand. And on the other hand, psychological processes, so that the extent to which we have been screwed up, held down, forced to become what we are not by the processes of society, that has to be released, and that's psychological process that we're referring to in this release of emotional repression. Now, you can't go forward without these two wings. You need two wings to fly, in a sense. So we have to do some work on our emotions as well as work on our spiritual wisdom and practice if we're to really move forward. And to try to do one without the other simply leads to a kind of distortion, an imbalance which eventually will tell strong in your life. You'll never be able to really release yourself into a baseline of joy unless you do both of those things. So the metaphor in this image is the shedding of clothes and the shedding of that which is not essential. So if we just release everything which is possible, then we find ourselves back to the essence. That's the one thing that we cannot release. In the same way that a snake sheds its skin as it grows, so we must shed our stuff, our beliefs and opinions and habitual behaviors. We have to shed all of this, because all of these things that we do to make life comfortable, they're actually the techniques that we're using on ourselves to stop the emotions that we feel from coming out, actually from being felt. These feelings are unpleasant. We don't want to feel them, so that we hide them. We protect ourselves from feeling them. And we need to release them. So taking off the clothes is like taking off this gown, this mask, this cloak to hide who we really are. And we don't have to really think that through, knowing that we cannot shed essence. So let go of it all. Anything that you've got that you love, let it go if you can. And that goes on all levels. If you really want to go to the heights of spiritual attainment, you have to let go of it all. You let go of your attachment to it all, and it comes back to you in a different form. And this applies not only to your money, not only to your feelings of self-importance and the positions in society that reflect those feelings, but also to your children. Your children, they get to be adults, and you need to let them become adults, and that process starts very young indeed. It's okay to protect your children from harm and to guide them a little bit by answering their questions truthfully, but it's not really okay to impose your ideas upon them. You have to let go of your requirements for your children to be like you, only the bit of you that you couldn't do yourself. It's not okay to live your life out vicariously through your children. You have to let go of that. And you have to let go of your friends when they find other things that move them in different directions. And you have to let go of everything, actually, in the end, everything. Because only by letting go of everything will you actually find what you really are. You find the gold then, when you let go of every single inconsequential thing in life. You find what is of consequence. And you'll notice that nothing really matters. Not a thing. None of your opinions or beliefs or obsessions or relationships, none of it actually amounts to anything. The only thing that's of absolute worth is the essence self. And once you've identified the essence self and you relate to the world and you relate to yourself through that understanding of essence self, then all of what you've given away is just available anyway. You find you can't lose anything then. So everything that you've taken off, you find it's there, but it's actually within you. It's deeper and it's real and it's you and it's yours, and you can't lose it, and you carry it on beyond this life throughout eternity. That's the secret. Let it go.